Grim here, and in today's video I thought I'd give you a bit of an update on the tornado shot character because I have changed a lot and I've been learning a lot about the kind of new bow meta and kind of where I want to take my character and kind of use it for my overall mapping. And kind of now that Delhi is gone, you really can take your character in a fairly different direction, and I've been having a lot of fun coming up with what that direction will be. First and biggest change is going to be I am no longer a Deadeye. I am now in fact a Raider, and I'm going to go through why I decided to do that. So I've got an absolute ton of different gear upgrades since our last video here, one of which was a Chain Here's Demise. So this I got for about 10 exalts. It was quite a while ago now, but picking this one up was a pretty big thing, and I always knew that this would be one of the things that would allow me to go Raider. The only reason I went Deadeye to begin with is because I really needed chains. Chains are what allowed Deadeye to really, the bow skills to really like get good AoE, and that's kind of what I was going for. But by picking up a chain quiver, you essentially get one of the 2 node points of Deadeye for free. It's pretty ridiculous. If we actually just look at Deadeye in PoB, we will be able to pull it up over here. We can kind of look at all the nodes and we can kind of break them down and see why I actually ended up doing Raider in the first place. So Deadeye, you can see here, Chain was one of the nodes here. You can get another one of the nodes for free, pretty much just off of having a really strong bow. You can see here the bow here I have is +2 arrows. Of course, the +2 arrows from Deadeye does stack with the bow, but the only reason I really wanted the arrows is to get sufficient clear. All I wanted was sufficient clear, and an additional 2 arrows doesn't scale as well as other things which Raider has to offer in terms of the clear department. So once you have a kind of critical mass of arrows where you're hitting everything on the screen and you're off screening things, that's kind of all you need. You don't need to go to 20 arrows, for example. You know, more arrows is better, but you don't need to go crazy with them. And again, that kind of really does get rid of the desire to go Deadeye, at least for this. The next one is Gathering Winds. Gathering Winds is another node which can just be acquired on items, and I'll show you the item in a second here, a little bit later, but let's just say I have an item which basically gives me this for free as well. The only thing that you're really losing is Wind Ward, and potentially if you took Far Shot. I did not take Far Shot, I'm a point blank build, but if you did, you would be losing that too. But Wind Ward is the primary thing you lose. It's a big defensive mechanic, and losing it does kind of suck, but you do more than make up for it with the things that you gain from Raider instead, and we'll go into them now. Okay, Raider. So once you've acquired enough projectiles and you've acquired enough chains, then you can look into going Raider. Now, I really do need to talk a little bit about the actual character itself, because in the previous video, I had a very different setup, right? So once you acquire enough currency to kind of really invest in your bow character, you kind of do want to go for a double 6-link setup. In my previous video, I was using Hydrosphere because I only had one 6-link and I had a very inexpensive, cheap bow. With that Hydrosphere, I was able to have single target and AoE in one thing. One of the biggest issues I was having with that version of the build is that the clear just wasn't what I wanted. I had one chain from Deadeye, and I had pretty much no other chains. I have now 4 chains because I split my AoE and my single target into 2 different skills. By doing so, I can pretty much laser focus each of them on the different tasks that they're for. So I now have tornado shots exclusively for clearing. We can put a map in here and I'll show you guys kind of what I mean, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And now I have barrage for exclusively single target. And barrage is actually going to do more damage than the tornado shot Hydrosphere setup, and then of course the normal tornado shot with now the AoE setup is going to do more AoE than the tornado shot before. So I literally have a better version of both worlds, and all it did, it obviously requires currency to get to this point, but that is also a really big deal. You'll notice that when I actually kill a pack now, the arrows bounce around quite a lot more. So if we actually go through here, the actual clear is significantly improved. You're starting to get that really easy cruisy play style of just click, the whole screen dies, click, the whole screen dies. Before that was absolutely not the case. If you go back to my other video, you cannot get that same effect with one chain. You have to go up to the pack, you have to shoot it. You also do have a very good single target. If you come up to this boss here, we'll see that we'll be able to take it out fairly quickly, and that's pretty damn good. Oh, I sustained. So yeah, that's kind of where it is. Now, just I split these up. What kind of links am I using? I'm using Awakened Chain and Awakened GMP. I'm also using Mirage Archer. That's a triple, basically no link. So I'm on a 3 link. Obviously, that's not exactly how it works. But in order to be able to go with this TS setup, you need pretty damn good gear. You're gonna need a pretty good bow with enough flat coal to kind of compensate for dropping support gems, and you're also gonna need reasonable gear and kind of like dexterity levels, because obviously we're dex stacking. And that's going to allow you to really go for that massive juice or AoE setup. And that is also one of the requirements to going Raider. Because if I wasn't able to use Awakened Greater Multiple Projectiles, look at my projectiles now, I only have 3 without dying Sunup, and that's unacceptable. You need to have enough damage to go Awakened GMP, and that really does take your clear speed to the next level. Very, very good there. All right, let's talk a little bit about what Raider has to offer then. So one of the big issues I was having with Deadeye is that I was incredibly slow. Incredibly slow. I couldn't move very fast at all, and that was really, really bothering me. My clear speed was a disaster, because just my movement speed was a disaster, because I had invested in all of these defenses on the tree. I didn't have any points to spec into movement speed, even though I could easily access it, right? I have Graceful Assault, I have Fleet Foot, I have Quick Step, I have all these things right in my tree, but I didn't have enough points to do it. I couldn't go for it, and that was quite frustrating. So Raider was the clear choice. I could go that and lose pretty much no defense, and then I would get a ton of movement speed on the small nodes. I would get like 8% here, and then you also get a further massive amount of movement speed from Avatar of the Chase. So let me quickly explain Avatar of the Chase. So Avatar of the Chase essentially is the kind of pathing here gives you Onslaught permanently. Your character just always has Onslaught. I know I'm using Onslaught fast, but it's just too good to give up. But you have Onslaught permanently. So Onslaught is 20% attack, cast, and movement speed. So it's basically like an extra pair of boots. But the thing that really takes it to the next level is you get 50% increased Onslaught effect on one node here. That takes it to 30% increased attack speed and movement speed. And then you also have more Onslaught effect here. That's another 30%. So now we're up to 80. And then you get even more Onslaught here. 180% increased Onslaught. So that's 20 times 1.8. That's absolutely ridiculous. 36% movement speed and attack speed. That's crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. So that's so much more movement speed. It's really going to amp your character's movement speed up, and it's going to be permanent as well. So you know how your character is super duper slow when you don't have your flasks up? That's not really a thing as a raider, because you're always just got your onslaught up. It's going to mean you can kind of loot faster, move around faster, and your whole overall character quality of life is going to be much, much higher, which I'm a big fan of. In addition to that, you also get dodge. In the future, I'm going to look into dropping the Hiri's Eye. That's a topic for a little bit later there. And I'm going to be going for a different chest piece. And in order to make up the amount of dodge I lost, I needed to get dodge somewhere else. And Quartz Infusion is a massive amount of dodge. Also, dodge is an exponentially scaling stat. Obviously, the closer you get to 100, the more and more effective it gets. So, if you're on 98 and you get an additional 1%, that's literally 50% more dodge. Because, you're dodging like half, you're only getting hit half the time from that 1%. So the more of it you get, the better it becomes. And right now, if you actually notice in my defense tab here, where is it? Is it actually in defense? Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Chance to dodge 70%. I'm almost dodge capped, and I'm not using a flask. I'm also not using any cheesy Omega Can action either. This is crazy. 70% chance to dodge is 70% mitigation. It's basically like an additional layer of resists, which is crazy. When you're actually mapping, it's very, very difficult for a monster to hit you. And there's actually an additional reason for that. So, as a raider, not only do you get the dodge, but you also get Avatar of the Veil here. So I'm pretty sure, where is it here? It says nearby enemies have 20% less accuracy rating while you have phasing, and you permanently have phasing. So this is crazy. Basically, when the monsters are there, they have 20% less accuracy. That's on top of you already blinding them. Blinding essentially allows them to have 50% less chance to hit. So they have 50% less chance to hit, and they have 20% less chance to hit because you are a raider. Basically, these monsters are really going to have a very, very hard time to hit you. It's going to be very, very difficult for them to even get near you. So these are basically more multipliers on your evasion. That's kind of how that works out, because they have a less chance to hit you. You have a more chance to dodge and more chance to evade. So if you actually go to Path of Building, you'll notice that with my character, with Blind Up, it actually has 95% chance to evade, and then it also has 70% chance to dodge. So they have a 95% chance. It's a 1 in 20 roll. They roll the dice. Okay, didn't hit. And then they have to roll another dice. 70% chance. Oh man, they didn't hit again. So the actual chance that they get hit is unfathomably low by pretty much anything that attacks normally. Like if it attacks, with a normal basic attack, it's probably not hitting me. The things that really will hit me are spells. And I do have spell dodge. I have 55%. That is not high enough in my opinion. I would like to get more of that, but I can't really figure out how to do so at this time. Because obviously blind doesn't affect spells. And it is what it is. I have to figure out how to get more spell dodge, but that also will be a big defensive boost for my character, and I'll be looking into how to get that in the future. So pretty good. Very, very difficult for any white auto attack to kind of kill my character or touch my character, which is really, really good. Additionally, Avatar of the Veil basically makes you immune to ailments permanently. You cannot be frozen, you cannot be shocked, you cannot be any of those things. The only thing you can be is bled and cursed, but you can solve those with flasks as well. So you can see here I now have bleeding on my diamond flask. That actually frees up other parts of my character to do other things, and I'll go into that in a second here. So Raider, in my opinion, is the superior choice. It gives you a ton of attack speed, ton of quality of life. It also gives you more damage because you have exposure for free. So you can see you get cold exposure, which is actually a big damage boost as well. But you get overall a massive amount of just quality of life, and it's a really, really good package. I think it's far superior to Deadeye. Deadeye used to be unbeaten because of the chain scaling. You used to get more damage from chain. That has been removed. And I think if you're going point blank, Raider is the clear option once you get to a certain gear level. I'll also go into another item that I have now, which makes Raider even better. So there's a pair of boots you can craft. If you're interested in crafting them, you can check out Elishah's channel. He's kind of like the master craftsman. My goodness, what is going on in here? They're basically boots which perfectly play into Raider. I currently don't have enough resists to be able to use them, but that's just going to have to be later. And I also have to divine them. But as you can see here, these have Onslaught, Elusive, and Tailwind. So remember how I mentioned that Deadeye has Tailwind on it? This is basically the Deadeye Ascendancy on a pair of boots with one mod. So this gives you Tailwind, which is 8% action speed multiplied by 25%. So that's 10% action speed. It's 10% more attack speed and movement speed, which is really good. And then it also has increased attack, cast, and movement speed while you have Onslaught. So these are essentially 40% movement speed boots, which also give attack speed, which is crazy. And then you also get on top of that Elusive, which is dodge and spell dodge, I believe. I don't know if it's going to show me here, but dodge and spell dodge. Onslaught is okay. Yep. Elusive is 15% chance to dodge spell or attack hits, which is much more defensive. Of course, it's going to be how I get some of my spell dodge. It obviously decays, which sucks, but it is what it is. And also gives you more movement speed, which is then multiplied by Tailwind. And you can start to see how all these things play together for absolutely a turbo race car character. These boots are insane. Again, I'll link to the description on how to make them down below. Go check out the video. It's really, really awesome. But yeah, the only limiting factor with using these boots is resists. And resists was a big deal. So right now I'm using Tomb Fist primarily so that I could get a corrupted blood cannot be inflicted on you, because I really couldn't solve my character very well. I had to have freeze on my flask, which means I couldn't have corrupted blood, and I needed to get that somewhere else. I didn't have any jewel sockets, so I needed to get it on a jewel. So I went with corrupted blood and Tomb Fists. You do also get a 10% more damage multiplier, but I'm going to go into why that is actually not that good right now. So Tomb Fist does give you that 10% more damage multiplier. It gives you pretty much nothing else. It does give you the Abyssal Sockets, but they're pretty underwhelming. If you look at my overall damage, I think it's going to probably give me about 4k, 3k, even less than I thought. As a pair of gloves, they probably net you, anywhere between 15% damage or more. And that can be easily made up for with one mod on a rare pair of gloves. That's Culling Strike. So it's really, they're not that appealing. So if we take them out, they're not that insane. And the reason they're not that insane is I'll go into a map and show you my biggest problem with my character right now. So my biggest problem with my character is actually with my AoE skill. So right now, a lot of my damage is, see how the tornado shot doesn't instantly kill everything? Like it should, like that's what you would want, right? I'll explain it a little bit better here. Okay, this Mirage Archer needs to go. 1 second, I need to take this out because it's scuffing my example here. So if I shoot a TS, okay, that one actually did kill everything. Okay, yeah, see how that one didn't kill everything? That is what I don't like about my character right now. It really makes it difficult to map effectively because sometimes it takes 1 shot, sometimes it takes 2 shots, and when I'm moving it around a map very, very quickly, that's incredibly frustrating because you don't know how many times you need to shoot, and the reason for that is A, I have low crit, that also needs to be solved, but B, a lot of my damage is conditional on hit. So, for example, right here it says, intimidate enemies for 4 seconds on hit. That's a 10% more damage multiplier that comes after I hit once. I also have another one here, which is when I chill enemies, I get more damage, like 22% cold damage. That is also conditional. So a ton of my damage is incredibly conditional, which is a big problem because that means I have to hit first and I want to one-shot the pack. So that does make it quite difficult. I cannot drop Pandemonious. It's pretty much just the best in slot unless you get a Mirror Amulet. So that is not going to be an option either. Okay. So yeah, that is definitely a problem. I need to solve that with higher crit, either in the form of Bottled Faith or a new chest piece, or I also need to look into other means of getting less conditional damage, and dropping Tomb Fist is going to help with that. Getting Culling Strike is also going to help with that, and new gloves will be on the table at some point, but I need to find out how I'm going to get resistances. I do have a few ideas, some of which are probably going to involve dropping these small clusters here, to get more points on my tree, and then allocating some different points here. But that is a ton of life, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm prepared to give that up just at this point. So yeah, I have to consider a little bit more. All right, what else can we talk about on the character here? Let's talk about the new skill tree that I'm using. So previously, I was using a Lionized Fall, and I was taking this massive claw node wheel here. And that was taking up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 points. When you actually measure it out, while it is pretty good, it's actually not that good because you get a bunch of leech, but you can get leech from Blood Drinker and also Mana Leech down here, which is sufficient. You are already taking Blood Drinker. It's a fantastic life node. So I don't think that you want to go with the Claw Wheel. The main draw is the massive amount of crit and crit multi. Obviously, I just mentioned I'm pretty low in the crit department now because I dropped this, and also the blind, but you get blind from Pandemonious. So you don't need to take this. Also, the big reason I went for this is because I picked up a Watcher's Eye, and I couldn't actually fit it anywhere. There was nowhere on my tree which I could put it in, and I needed to make room for it. So I had to drop something, and in fact, I was going to gain a ton more effective life and also movement speed and quality of life by going for into the Assassin's Tree, picking out Blood Siphon, and that was my strategy, and that is exactly what I went to do. So this is a tankier tree, but it does drop a lot of crit, and if you're just early on in your Tornado Shot adventure, maybe you stick with Lionized Fall. It's not a bad option, but once you do get enough gear, you want to go in this kind of direction for more tankiness and also more movement speed and quality of life. Finally, I did finally anoint my amulet. Tons of people have been saying. I went with freedom of movement to save the 2 points here. Ultimately, you could just put more points in here if you had points to spare. I currently do not. But yeah, that's kind of the direction I went in. Because this is probably one of the best nodes on the tree. 10% movement speed and also 5% dodge, as well as the massive increase in evasion. Does actually, as I mentioned, as you approach the level of 100, kind of threshold for dodge, it gets progressively better. So this is actually a massive defensive node for my character. The other alternative, if you need more damage, is to go with Heart of Ice, which gives you 6% cold penetration. But you should already be getting a ton of cold penetration from your amulet, so that's not as good. It has diminishing returns. That's why I didn't go with that direction. Alright, future upgrades for the character. I'm going to be going dual curse chest piece with base crit and explode. I think that should help with the clear significantly. Those are the 3 mods I'm going to be looking for, as well as big life, as well as maybe some resist. If I can manage it, we'll see. That's going to be a bit of a push. I'm going to be getting rings which have dex, life, and resist on them. That's my goal. Nothing else matters. That's all I want. And I also want to get them with implicits, with curse on hit, with frostbite and elemental weakness. because I'm going to go dual curse, and that's going to be a big thing. Again, curses, pretty frustrating because they're also a conditional on hit kind of mechanic here, which means my TS isn't getting amped the way I want it to. It is what it is, but you know, it is annoying. And then I'm also going to get probably Cull plus probably Intimidate gloves. Maybe not Intimidate though, because again, conditional damage. I really don't want that. But yeah, I'm probably going to get the dual mod gloves here. That's going to be my goal there. And then of course I already have my boots. And I'm probably going to sub out these small clusters, pick up life somewhere else on the tree, and then grab jewels with dual res, multi, and life on them. That's probably going to be my play, and that's going to be where I'm going to go from there. I may also look at picking up a different large cluster here, which has resist on it, because I do take a few points here, and if I could get resist on this as well as instead of chaos res, I'd probably be able to be a little bit better positioned on my resist right now. And that's gonna be my direction I'm going in there. I'm not sure where I'm going to spend these 6 points, but I will find somewhere. Obviously, there will be an update here, but that's kind of where my character's at right now. If you're looking at kind of emulating it, that's kind of going to be my thoughts. The character plays absolutely insanely. It's missing about 30% single target, probably I'd say, from being able to one-shot conquerors. That will come in time. I just need to continue to invest in the character, and it should be pretty good in the future. So with all that said, guys, hope you guys have enjoyed the video. It's been kind of long, but it's kind of a vlog kind of video. With all that said, I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.